Hello, my name is Ruth Lowe, and I'm a Platinum consultant from San Diego, California. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with me here today. I'm going to talk about rank advancement going to silver. So let me share my screen with you. Alrighty. So the rank advancement goes from direct to executive and executive to silver. And the first point is, it's all about the points. Rank advancement is all about the points. So we're going to go through different definitions. The first one is PV. PV stands for point volume. PPV stands for personal point volume. And personal point volume consists of your own orders, your own points, plus your customer points. The next one is PGPV, which stands for personal group point volume. So it includes your PPV, which is your own points and your customers' points, but also your direct consultants and your executive consultants. So that's your whole personal group. The next one is OPV, which is your organizational point volume. And that has to do with your personal group, which is your own points, your customers' points, and your direct consultants and your executive consultant points. Plus, we add into that organization volume your silvers and above. You must have 100 PPV to be eligible for rebates and overrides, otherwise considered to be inactive for the month. I also want to share about CV. CV is commission volume. Now, most of our talk today will be about points, but I just wanted you to be aware of what CV was. CV is how we calculate our rebates and overrides. Here is a picture of the consultant price sheet, and that's in the back office, but I wanted to show you where these points come from. So when we look at this first line right here, it's the water pack 1, and you can see it retails for $530. Consultant price is $424. And then here, your CV, you see the CV, we get paid rebates and override on the CV. And then PV, which is right here, here's the PV, do you see that? PV is all about the points, and that's what rank advancement takes from. We need to know where the points are. There are two requirements that I really want to make clear, and one is the primary leg. The primary leg means the leg that has the highest points. The secondary leg is the leg that has the second highest point. So some people ask me, well, what is a leg? A leg is someone that you have personally sponsored. So let me give you an example of that. I have Mary that joined my group. I sponsored, and she generated 100 points in a month. And in the same month, I also sponsored Joe, and he generated 50 points. So in this example, Mary is the leg that has the highest points, so she is the primary leg. And Joe is the secondary leg because he has a leg that has the second highest points. It's pretty straightforward when you just have two legs. But what happens if you have more than two legs? My second example is I have Mary, who I personally sponsored, and she has 100 points. I have Joe, who I personally sponsored, and he has 50 points. I also have Peter, who I sponsored, and he has 80 points. And I have Sue, who I sponsored, and she has 120 points. So when I look at the four people that I personally sponsored, who has the highest points and is my primary leg? That would be Sue. She is my primary leg because she has the leg that has the highest points for that month. And then who is my secondary leg? That would be Mary, because Mary is the leg that has the second highest points. So between these four people, Sue is my primary leg and Mary is my secondary leg. I hope that makes sense. And when I give you the examples, I think it'll be clearer. Okay, well, when somebody joins as a consultant, they are entitled to 20% profits. And they're entitled to 5% of CV for rebates and overrides. And to qualify and get paid on your rebates and overrides, you must have 100 PPV in that month. Our first level of promotion is what we call executive consultants. And how do you achieve that? You do that by doing 1,500 PGPV, and you have up to 3 consecutive months. For the month that you want your PGPV to be counted, you must have 100 PPV in that month. Otherwise, that month PGPV won't be counted. You must have 100 PPV. You will then get 20% retail profits, which all consultants get. But here's where it gets nice. you get up to 10% of CV for rebates and overrides. Now, do you remember when you were direct, it was only 5%, so it has doubled. And to qualify and get paid on these rebates and overrides, you must have 100 PPV in that month. The next level of promotion, which I call the first level of leadership, is Silver Consultant. So what does it take to be Silver Consultant? You need to achieve 6,000 PGPV in up to 3 consecutive months. And during the month of rank advancement, so if you take up to 3 months or 2 months, whatever month that you make your 6,000th point, there will be 2 requirements that you have to meet. And they are, you must have 1,000 points outside, that says outside of primary leg. The second requirement is you must have 500 points outside of primary and secondary leg. For the month that you want your PGPV to be counted, you must have 100 PPV in that month. And then what happens, you are getting your 20% retail profits, which all consultants get. But here's where it gets really nice. You now get up to 20% of your CV for rebates and overrides. Now, do you remember direct was 5%, then executive was 10%, and now as a Silver Consultant, you can get up to 20% of CV. And there's another bucket of money that you're entitled to. You get 6% of PGCV for silvers and above. So it really is beneficial for you to go silver as a leader and then help others go silver. To qualify and get paid on these rebates and overrides, you must have 100 PPV in that month. So let me give you some examples. Here is Mary, and we're just going to take the month of January. She joined January 3rd. If you take a look at my notes, Mary bought a water pack for 500 PV, an energy pack for 750 PV, and a Queen Sleep pack that's 1,400 PV. And that generated 2,650 PV. She also sold 4 water packs totaling 2,000 PV to customers. So when you take the 2,000 and you add it with the 2,650, that equals 4,650. And then let's take a look. She signed up Joe on January 18th, and Joe generated 890 points for the month. And she signed up Sue January 26th, and Sue generated 463 points. So there are 2 rules that we have to look at. In the month that you get your 6,000th point, which she does in January, there are 2 rules. The first rule is there 1,000 points outside of the primary leg? So who's the primary leg? It's Joe, right? So we take a look at this column right here. It says OPV, which is 6,003, minus, and I'm not sure if you can see that little minus sign, minus outside primary leg. So primary leg is 890, so you take the 6,003 minus the 890, because Joe is the primary leg, and that equals 5,113. So what is the first rule? Is there 1,000 points outside of Joe? And yeah, we took the 6,003 minus 890, and what's left outside of Joe is 5,113. So is that more than 1,000? It is. So first rule met, 1,000 points out of primary leg. The second rule is there 500 points outside of primary and secondary leg? So let's take a look at this column. You take your 6,003, you take your OPV, and you subtract primary leg is 890, and subtract 463, which is your secondary leg, and that equals 4,650. So the rule is there 500 points outside of primary and secondary leg? And there is. There's 4,650. We only needed 500. So check. Mary became silver in 1 month based on the requirements. Let's take a look at if she took 2 months. Here we go. January, she bought a water pack, and then she sold 4 water packs, so she generated 2,500 PPV. That's right here. She signed up Joe on January 20th, and he generated 500 points, so her OPV was 3,000. So she didn't get to the 6,000. However, when we look at February, she generated 3,003 OPV. So if you take the 3,003, add to the 3,000 from January, it is 6,003. So yes, her 6,000th point was generated in February. So what are the 2 rules? The first rule is, do you have 1,000 points outside of the primary leg? So who's the primary leg? Let's take a look at this. Who has the highest points? That would be Sue, because she has 500 points. So Sue's the primary leg. So the first rule is there 1,000 points outside of the primary leg? So we take the OPV, see here's the formula, OPV, which is 3,003, minus 500, because we want to know what's outside of the primary leg, and that comes out to 2,503 right here. So is that 1,000 points outside of primary legs? Yes, that's more than 1,000 points. It's 2,503. So check. First requirement made. The second requirement is there 500 points outside of primary and secondary leg? So let's take a look. Here is 3,003 out, and so we are going to subtract 500 the primary leg, secondary leg of 353, that equals 2,150. So is there more than 500 points outside of primary and secondary leg? Yes, there is. There's 2,150. So check. Mary went silver in 2 months because she did the 6,000th point and she had met the two requirements. The 1,000 points outside of primary leg and the 500 points outside of primary and secondary leg. I know I sound like a broken record, but I just wanted to drill that in. Let's take a look when she takes 3 months to go silver. So Mary joins January 3rd and she generates 1,000 points because she bought a water pack herself and sold a water pack. And then in February, she signed up Joe and Sue. But when we look at the OPV, we look at the 2,953, and we looked at the 1,000 from January. It only told us that 3,953. So she didn't do her 6,000 point in February. So we don't care about primary and secondary leg in the month of February. The only time we have to look at the primary and secondary leg is in the month that you get your 6,000th point. Okay, so let's take a look at March. In March, she generated 2,050 OPV. And let's take a look at her primary leg would be the person with the highest, and that would be Joe. And then her secondary leg would be Sue because she generated the second highest points. So now that we know in March she got her 6,000th point, what is the first rule? Is there 1,000 points outside of primary leg? So let's take a look. OPV was 2,050. And we're going to take away the primary leg, which is 600. See, it's right here. OPV minus outside primary leg. And what is that total? 1,450. Is that over 1,000 points? It is. So check. She met the first requirement. The second requirement is there 500 points outside of primary and secondary leg? So let's take a look. There's 2,050 points here, and we have to subtract the primary leg and subtract the secondary leg, and what's left? 1,000 points. So is that more than 500 points? And it is, because the second rule is there 500 points outside of primary and secondary leg? And there is. It's 1,000 points. So check. Mary became silver in 3 months, and she met the two requirements. I hope that all this makes sense. And I would ask you, if it doesn't, please watch it again. Watch this video one more time. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out or to your upline or to myself. I know that sometimes it can seem challenging, but it really is pretty straightforward. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm so glad you were here. Have a great day.